Hey people, it's Niyas talking. This is another meditation with Niyas video. Now, a few days ago, I'm not sure, I did a video about Marcus Aurelius' meditations, and longer than that, I did a video called Meditations with Niyas. And so I thought I'd combine the two, and I'm going to read from his book, and I'm going to hope that this creates a calming aura or whatever for the people listening, for Diwanian Black Americans, who are my prime audience and target. So here we go. From his book, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and I recognize the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood or birth, but the same mind and possessing a share of the divine. And so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at any relative or hate him. We are born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions. Whatever this is that I am, it is flesh and a little spirit and an intelligence. Throw away your books. Stop letting yourself be distracted. That is not allowed. Instead, as if you were dying right now, despise your flesh, a mess of blood, pieces of bone, a woven tangle of nerves, veins, and arteries. Consider what the spirit is, air and never the same air, but vomited out and gulped in again every instant. Finally, the intelligence. Think of it this way. You are an old man. Stop allowing your mind to be a slave, to be jerked about by selfish impulses, to kick against fate and the present, and to mistrust the future. 3. What is divine is full of providence. Even chance is not divorced from nature, from the inweaving and enfolding of things governed by providence. Everything proceeds from it, and then there is necessity and the needs of the whole world, of which you are a part. Whatever the nature of the whole world does, and whatever serves to maintain it, is good for every part of nature. The world is maintained by change, in the elements and in the things they compose. That should be enough for you. Treat it as an axiom. Discard your thirst for books, so that you won't die in bitterness, but in cheerfulness and truth, grateful to the gods from the bottom of your heart. Remember how long you've been putting this off, how many extensions the gods gave you, and you didn't use them. At some point, you have to recognize what world it is that you belong in, what power rules it, and from what source you spring. That there is a limit to the time assigned you, and if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all other distractions. Yes, you can. If you do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life, and stop being aimless. Stop letting your emotions override what your mind tells you. Stop being hypocritical, self-centered, irritable. You see how things you have to do. You see how few things you have to do to live a satisfying and reverent life. If you can manage this, that's all even the gods can ask of you. Yes, keep on degrading yourself, soul, but soon your chances of dignity will be gone. Everyone gets one life. Yours is almost used up, and instead of treating yourself with respect, you've entrusted your own happiness to the souls of others. Do external things distract you? Then make time for yourself to learn something worthwhile. Stop letting yourself be pulled in all directions, but make sure you guard against the other kind of confusion. People who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse toward are wasting their time, even when hard at work. Ignoring what goes on in other people's souls, no one ever came to grief that way. But if you won't keep track of what your own soul keeps doing, how can you not be unhappy? Don't ever forget these things, the nature of the world, my nature, how I relate to the world, what proportion of it I make up, that you are part of nature, and no one can prevent you from speaking and acting in harmony with it, always. In comparing sins, the way people do, Theophrastus says that the ones committed out of desire are worse than the ones committed out of anger, which is good philosophy. The angry man seems to turn his back on reason out of a kind of pain and inner convulsion, but the man motivated by desire, who is mastered by pleasure, seems somehow more self-indulgent, less manly in his sins. Theophrastus is right and philosophically sound to say, the sin committed out of pleasure deserves a harsher rebuke than the one committed out of pain. The angry man is more like a victim of wrongdoing provoked by pain to anger. The other man rushes into wrongdoing on his own, moved to action by desire. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If the gods exist, then to abandon human beings is not frightening. The gods will never subject you to harm. And if they don't exist or don't care what happens to us, what will be the point of living in a world without gods or providence? But they do exist, they do care what happens to us, and everything a person needs to avoid real harm, they are placed within him. If there were anything harmful on the other side of death, they would make sure that the ability to avoid it was within you. If it doesn't harm your character, how can it harm your life? Nature would not have overlooked such dangers through failing to recognize them, or because it saw them, but was powerless to prevent or correct them. Nor would it ever, through inability or incompetence, make such a mistake as to let good and bad things happen indiscriminately to good and bad alike. But death and life, success and failure, pain and pleasure, wealth and poverty, all these happen to good and bad alike, and they are neither noble nor shameful, and hence neither good nor bad. Now, I don't want this to go on too long, so I'm going to stop it there. I hope you enjoyed that. Please get to Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And if you would like to support this channel, leave my cash up. Peace.